Welcome back to Dark Souls 2. Got an excellent boss fight for you later on. Got two boss fights today in fact. We'll be finishing up in the Forest of Fallen Giants. A couple of wee areas to explore that we didn't get through in the first episode. So I'm using the halberd. I bumped up my dexterity to be able to use that. I think it's 14 dexterity I needed to be able to use that. And it's a good weapon, it's powerful, and you can take out like multiple enemies, you know, with the dashing attack, and the strong attack as well works quite well. Just going to put on the blue wooden shield here, just in case. This was the scene of the first death in this playthrough. And you'll remember my strategy in the last time around was basically just to attack them as quickly as possible. And I guess that'll be the same way to do it this time around. And I don't know how they managed to see me and they threw the firebombs, the two hollows that are above there, behind me. Yeah, it's a brilliant attack. It becomes particularly useful at certain points later in the game. Yeah, I actually have no idea how they threw a firebomb at me, considering I didn't go anywhere near their wee area back there. Anyway, I didn't go down here in the last episode, but we'll clear this area out just now. And I came down here, I thought it's a bit dark, so I went back and got a torch from the bonfire, just to make best use of all the lighting effects that you get from the Durante's graphics mod. And I've put a link in the previous episode in a comment to Wayman's Rules. So there's a direct link to where you can get the file, as well as instructions on how to use it. Be careful when you open some treasure chests. Some of them are actually booby trapped with poison or arrows, and if you get white smoke, raise your shield as quickly as possible because you're going to be hit by a barrage of arrows. And over here we've got a Pharaoh's Lockstone, and Pharaoh was apparently some kind of engineer genius that went around the land putting these things all over the place. And once you activate the contraption, you get this strange illusory wall effect. So, got two really good items in. Well, one really good item, and it's not the Clarantry ring. It's the item in this treasure chest that's the good one. And I think that was a clever thing of From Software to do, to put a slab at the beginning area of the game. It just means that once you've got enough upgrade materials, you're going to be able to get your weapon to the highest level possible without having to go and find slabs. So this door, you can't open it apparently from this side. But if you bang in the door, then if you listen, you can actually hear that there's hollows on the opposite side of it. And I guess out of frustration, From Software wanted you to hit it. I didn't discover this in my own playthrough. I had to find out from somebody else how to get in there. And I really shouldn't have done that attack. I kind of thought maybe both of them were going to come out, but I used up all my stamina there. And I forget that I can't use this one-handed yet because I don't have 20 strength. The Clarantry ring is quite weak at this point. It's the base Clarantry ring, and it's not like Dark Souls where you pick it up and you get like 33% stamina regen boost. There's another guy in there, another soldier. In Dark Souls 2, the base ring only has, I think, like, I might be wrong about this, I think it's 3.5% regen increase when you're wearing it. And I don't like the effect that you get when you're wearing the ring. Tried to break his guard there, but get the timing wrong. I need to do better to avoid those shield bashes. But yeah, I don't like that effect, and I've actually, earlier on this evening I found a mod on Nexus Mod's website that removes that effect, and it does the same for another ring that we'll find later on, which is good. I haven't tested it yet, so I don't actually know if it works 100%, but apparently it does. So, life ring. This ring increases the amount of health. It's like the same one that Ziegmeyer gives you in Anor Londo, but it's a bit better. It's got, it's a bit more useful here. So you can see we're getting an increase. Actually, I thought it was a bigger increase than that. That's not really that great. For some reason, I thought it was 8. I'd went from 830 to 888, but never mind. And again, we're going to cheese that ironclad by getting the bombers above to firebomb them. And these ironclads, if you ever approach one from behind, be very cautious, because like the ogres, they can fall back onto you and cause you damage. So we're going to get this crystal lizard. This is the one we couldn't get before, but now we've got a weapon that can easily hit the ground. Halberd at risk, and if I continue using this, it's going to break, and we'll need to get it repaired by Lenegrast. And I can't remember the cost. It's probably, for something like this, it's probably like 600 to 800 souls. Could be wrong about that, but definitely a cost involved in repairing it. And glad I actually went to the fire longsword. Really effective. So we get 2 shards there, which isn't bad. I probably won't upgrade my weapons until at least a few episodes, because there's 1 or 2 weapons I pick up that I would maybe use long term, but we'll see. Anyway, we're going to go to the area that we didn't, the next area that we didn't complete in the last episode, and that's the part where I ran up the tree branch. And then if it takes you up to the area where I threw the firebomb and got the shortcut. So the first successful parry of the playthrough, and I love the animation. I think it's excellent. What you want to do here as well is you want to use your bow or crossbow to take out that guy at the far wall, because he's a real pain in the arse if you're trying to move through this area. Don't know why the animation's so jerky. Maybe just because he's so far away. And there's another guy that's worth taking out, but we can't see him from here. He's definitely worth taking out. That guy there, right there. And I think that was going behind him, but the game counted it as a hit, so I'm not going to complain. And remember before I said, when you come in here initially, go back into the room, because there's a couple of guys that will aggro. And I said before in the previous episode, don't go left here. I wanted to see what happens, and I break the game's geometry and die. So this is where I found out that you can't do that, because for some reason the camera glitches and goes crazy. So you want to do a plunging attack on this guy below you, and make sure you dispatch him as quickly as possible, because you're kind of low in health at that point. You could actually snipe the other arrow guy, the other archer, from that room up there, because he's the one that's actually firing arrows at us just now. But don't worry about the Clanfrey ring. there'll be other opportunities to get stamina regen items as you progress through the game. And yeah, the base ring is really kind of worthless, I suppose. I love that R2 strong attack. So it's a good sign that you have to jump from this building onto the wooden beams, and we'll get that item in a minute. But it's a good sign that there's mods coming out for the game, and the game's only been out for less than a weekend, so be careful of the Indiana Jones boulder. And I'm not sure what the setup up there was before we came in here, if that hollow was waiting to roll the boulder down towards us, or if a certain NPC up there did it. You can see as well we're getting plenty of human effigies as we move through the game, and plenty of life gems as well. So this is Kale.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just daydreaming, I think. My name is Kale. I'm a traveller, like yourself.
He's got something very wrong with his neck.
I'm navigating the continent to create a map.
This guy... I'm not 100% sure what the story is with this guy.
Why cartography, you ask? Well, that's a good question. When I first came to... it was...
He's eccentric. He's got a weird neck.
How embarrassing. I seem to have lost my focus. But I do know one thing for certain. I have always been very fond of maps.
And he re-emphasises this idea that there's a problem with memory in Drang Lake.
Drang Lake, the Lost Kingdom. It sounded so romantic. Have you seen Majula? Oh, there's a rather spacious mansion there. I've made it my temporary home, well, as something of a squatter, I'm afraid. Inside the mansion, I found a strange map, like none I'd ever seen. I believe that it's a map of Drang Lake. Now I'm traveling the land to prove it. Yes, that's it. That's why I came to the kingdom. Wait, no, that wasn't it. Then what? I don't seem to recall.
Yeah, there's definitely some kind of...
Are you looking for that map? Wonderful. Then you're fascinated by maps, just like me. Shame on you. You should have told me before. Here, take this. A key to the mansion. What a joy to meet a kindred spirit out.
There seems to...
Incredible.
Come on, Kale.
Such a map to be chiseled in stone. Oh, but one thing. I would not venture deep into the mansion. Now, I can't be certain, but I've heard disturbing noises. Something about it feels wrong. I'll be back in Majula.
Right, so we've exhausted his dialogue, and once
and discuss maps
we take on a certain boss, him and Melentia will go back to Majula. But yeah, there seems to be like a collective amnesia in Drang Lake, or Drang Lake. Millibeth pronounced it like that, but I think Drang Lake's a normal pronunciation, not that it really matters. But yeah, there seems to be something weird going on in terms of memory. Everyone's memory seems to be a bit kind of hazy, although there are some NPCs that seem certain of what they're doing, and it's interesting. He kind of focuses the conversation on maps, and maybe it's because it's the one thing that he knows or he's good at or whatever, and you know, that's why he keeps reinforcing that aspect of the conversation. Anyway, we're going to go back to Majula and use the mansion key, or the house key. And that's the book. See that white book down there? The one with the... yeah, the white one. That's the book that was in the Duke's Archives. Same title and everything, I believe. Doesn't necessarily mean this is anything to do with Duke's Archives, or it could just be something that From Software, an asset that From Software have included. So this is the map that Kale's referring to, and it is strange that there is a map chiselled into the ground. And you know, you wonder, I always think that's a chest, but you wonder why somebody would do that. Well, anyway, first let's deal with this skeleton. And our stone ring's coming through for us here. He drops an effigy, and in a few moments, in about 10 seconds or so, I want you to listen very carefully when I step into the next room. Listen, the volume will increase, but listen very carefully. So you heard it too, the whispers. I hope you did hear it. I boosted the volume to make sure it was as audible as possible. And anyway, pick the soul vessel up. That allows you to go back and redistribute your stats if you need to. You go back to the firekeepers, and you can do that there. But that whispering is present throughout Drang Lake, and not many people, I've not seen many people mention it here or there on different forums, but I play with headphones on, and I noticed it from the get-go on PlayStation 3. Not that that entitles me to any special prizes or anything, but yeah, I did notice it, and I wondered at first if it was interference or something, but no, it's definitely part of the game, and I have no idea what it's saying. But again, that might, you know, that might have something to do with this idea of memory corruption. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the specifics of how all that's how all that works, but anyway, we're back in the Forest of Fallen Giants, and we're going to go for a boss fight now. This boss is the last giant, and not particularly difficult. We are going to restore our humanity so that we can summon Pate. We spoke to Pate, remember, earlier, where he told us about the treasures that lay under the gate, or inside the gate in the building, and you had to go through the gate to get to. Anyway, watch out, there's an enemy here. You can't open this door until we've reached a certain location later on in the game. The reason I want to use Pate is because to further his quest line and to get some of his equipment and weapons and whatnot, you need to do this, and you need to have him survive the fight. But the fight's so easy that it shouldn't be a problem. Mild-mannered Pate. And that's a recurring theme throughout Dark Souls, this idea you've got to use NPCs in boss fights and keep them alive in order to progress their storylines. So we'll follow this guy's lead and go in. And I apologise, I accidentally skipped the cinematic. So apparently this guy is the last surviving giant who crossed the sea a long time ago. And he has these stomping attacks, so just be very careful when you're... and I don't know what that's all about. I mean, I just clipped, his leg just clipped me, and obviously I took damage there. But never mind, we just got on with the fight. And he only really becomes dangerous halfway through. Once he reaches like 50% of his health, he detaches his arm from its socket, and that occurred in Dark Souls 1 as well with Ceaseless Discharge, when we took his sister's robes. But Pate seems to be doing okay. He's not really got the ideal weapon for this fight. because obviously spears are supposed to, are designed to target the body mass, the middle body mass, your chest and whatnot. Anyway, so he pulls off his left arm, and it becomes dangerous because he can swipe. He's got these kind of wide arcing swipes, and he also, another attack that's quite dangerous is the one when he falls on top of you. You can see he got me there, but it's somewhat embarrassingly, and I don't proclaim to be like a master at any games. I have a lot of weaknesses when it comes to certain games, and embarrassingly I died twice the last giant the first time I fought him on the PlayStation. His leg stomps got me, and his arm got me once, and but yeah, that's usually how it goes with me in Dark Souls. I have to learn the boss fight. It's now and again, if I'm lucky, I'll be able to get them first time. Anyway, we've taken this guy down. We get 10,000 souls. We get the soldier's key, which is an important item, and we get his soul. Hey, wait a minute, I thought I was supposed to get 10,000 souls. Oh well, 8,000 souls. Or 7.5 or something. And we'll catch up with Pate later. We'll be changing over the shield soon. I won't be using the blue wooden shield for much longer. So we'll have a look at the key. Fort was erected in the forest to face the giants, but now the soldiers are lost and hollowed. They're enfeebled and whatever else it said. But that key gives you access to, is it 2 areas? Well, definitely one area, this area to the right here. And I'm currently, I don't know how well it comes across in the video, but I'm definitely noticing a big difference now that I'm using Gerantes, like I mentioned in the previous video. But this video actually was recorded when I had the Gerante file active. So these ironclads are kind of worn down and old and not up to much. So obviously FromSoft made the distinction old ironclads. So I'm wondering if there's new ironclads or yeah, something like that later on. Because you know that in Dark Souls 1 they reuse certain enemies, like as you progress through the game. In Dark Souls 1, who did we have? We had a Capra Demon, and they reused Capra Demon, and also the Taurus Demon as well. But those guys were bosses, so yeah. I need to go back and there's an item back here. Yeah, the map thing, I was want to talk about that. Why would somebody engrave a map into the ground? Or chisel it into the ground? Is it because, I don't know, they forget things? Again, I'm referring to memory again when I'm talking about this map. Is it you know, to keep it, what am I trying to say here? I guess what I'm trying to say is that just like hieroglyphics and whatnot, and graffiti that you know, caveman you know, put on the walls of French caves, it seems engraving things into rock seems to preserve them for a very long time. So I wonder if it was done with that intention in mind, that for it to survive over the ages, the best way to keep the map as visible to as many people as possible was to basically carve it into the ground. Maybe not, maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree there. This is a good wee area. This is a good wee farming area at the beginning of the game. Take this guy out as quickly as possible. He becomes a pain in the bum as you move through here. And I'm not worried about taking hits off of him, I just want to kill him as quickly as I can. And there's a few of these ironclads around here. And there's a very good weapon to be found around here as well. And that's maybe one of the weapons I'll use, at least in the mid-term. Or medium term. Be careful if you're rolling back the way here, you know, you can get trapped in the wall, but be careful when you're going back as well, because obviously you can fall off the edge. And I thought he was going to go for it there, but nope. And this guy obviously does not like doors, that's 2 he's taken out. So we're going to go back soon and speak to Melentia, and if you spend a certain amount of souls with Melentia, you will get access to a ring, and it's one of my favourite rings. I know some people don't like this ring. It's this covetous silver serpent ring, +1, so it gives you an increase of 20% souls for each kill, and you have to spend, I think it's about 10,000 souls with her. Definitely worth it though. And these two guys are guarding the good weapon. And I used the wrong sword there basically to rush them, because this sword kind of had pokes and thrusts. It would have been better to use the Heide or the Heide sword, which has like a horizontal thrust. But this is a bastard sword, very powerful weapon early on in the game. As you can see, it does a lot more damage than the sword I'm currently using. And it doesn't require massive amounts of stats and whatnot to use it. The only thing is it can be a wee bitty slow sometimes, I think. But it is a very good weapon. And it's got good reach as well, actually, as you can see there. Kinda got lucky there. And I didn't really discuss it at the time, but one of the reasons why I chose the Explorer class is because of the fact he starts with 12 adaptability, and adaptability I think it's a good attribute to invest in. I know that there's been some contention about how useful it actually is, and you know how it affects iframes and whatnot, but I definitely find that it helps you to roll through attacks and dodge attacks, and the minimum I like to use is like 20, but we'll be aiming to get over 20 probably within the first dozen episodes. So if we go up here, there's 2 more ironclads, and we're not long from a much better boss fight coming up soon. And these guys, this particular ironclad, I've seen him fall down the hole a couple of times. He's always going crazy now, and unfortunately I've aggroed the other one. Very, very careless there. I was kind of not sure how I was going to heal up there, and I just decided in the end to play cautiously and can go down here to heal. But like I said before, I've seen this guy fall down the hole, so I was kind of just anticipating him maybe doing that, and that's why I delayed a second before I took my sip of Estus. And I can't remember if we've picked it up already. I think we have, but I think we've picked up an Estus Flash Shard, and we'll take that back to the Emerald Herald soon, so that we can get another sip of Estus. For each Estus Flash Shard you take back there, you get another access to another flask. And I thought he was going over the edge again. He should have really gone over the edge, but he didn't. So we get their armour, and this gives you a wee tiny amount of lore. Nothing particularly interesting. Quietly assumed position among the royal army. Basically referring to the fact that they seem to come from nowhere and didn't have much to say. And like I said before, I believe they're creations of King Rendrick, and they're like golems, or they're without soul or consciousness. They're basically just machines. Up to the right here is a leather armour. Not an armour set we'll be using, but it's here anyway if you want it. And here we get the Faris hat, or Faris hat, which is the one that we've got in the Darkroot Garden when we took out the hunter, the female hunter with her bow and arrow. And the far room down there's just another one of those trees that's basically solidified into, or a giant, sorry, that's solidified into a tree.
Is that a shard?
Ah, right, so it was here.
Let me see
Shard.
it, so that I may help you to see light, to see hope, however faint it might be.
I like the music in Dark Souls 2 as well. I think they did an excellent job in creating the score, especially for repetitive elements like this one. It doesn't get tiring, not to me at least, and I've probably got about 100 hours in Dark Souls 2 so far.
Oh, you again? Go on, it's on the cheap for you.
I believe you can also kill her to get access to the ring, but I wouldn't recommend that. So we're going to go and make our way to the second boss fight. And this boss fight is one of the better ones, especially at the start of the game. Unfortunately I have to take these two Muppets out. I'm not going to bother including that in the video. Once you've taken them out, you go to the right, and you use the soldier's key to open this door, run up here and do the running attack, and then get your second hit in against this guy. There'll be another guy here who's ready to get his hits in against you. And so for this next boss fight, do you need anything in particular? Yeah, you could use, I would say anything that increases stamina regen is good in this fight. So green blossoms, and I guess as much as it's kind of a negligible increase, it's worth just putting on the Claranfrey ring. Come up here first and get this item. So this is the Pursuer. He seems to be on some kind of self-directed holy mission, and you can see his crow flying away in the background. And Crow in Dark Souls 1 was associated with Velka, the goddess of sin, and the painted world of Ariamis. Have no idea if the Pursuer's got anything to do with that. Anyway, the strategy for this fight is to roll past him when he goes for his attack. He has follow-up attacks to that one, you'll see them in a second. He has a specific attack where he thrusts his sword forward, and and it can curse you, and that's an attack you really want to avoid, because if he does curse you, you lose your status, your humanity status. And yep, I kept this death in just to show you, you know, I reacted just far too slowly. I backed myself up to a corner. Just terrible way to fight him, and I deserved to die. And I think I died to him one additional time, but I didn't include it in this. It was very similar to the last death. So I used the ballista to take out most of his health. And if you do try to use the ballista, what you want to do is you want to bait him into doing certain attacks in front of it, obviously, and then just like take the lock off of him, and then run round to the ballista, and don't even bother looking at him, because by the time you switch the camera around you can miss the shot. I've done it a few times to him and when I was playing it in the PlayStation, because I used the bonfire ascetic here as well, and even in you know, when you use the bonfire ascetic, it basically throws a level up to New Game Plus, and even using the ballista then worked wonders. And it's quite, once you've done it once, it's actually quite easy to get the hang of it. I didn't really want to actually use it in this playthrough. That crow's nest, that will take you to the Lost Bastille, but don't. There's another way to go there, and I would recommend going the other way. You can see we've got the heads of the broken statues around here. Fall down here. One of the best armour sets and weapons in the game is down here, and we'll definitely be wearing this armour set. I know loads of people who do videos on YouTube wear the same armour set, but I do really genuinely like it, and I don't want to, you know, forgo something just because it's popular. If it's useful, might as well make use out of it. I don't think I'll be using the Drown Lake sword, but we'll definitely be using the Drown Lake mail armour. And look at the increase that you get. I mean, it's just a huge defense bonus. Plus, it looks excellent, you know, with the cape and whatnot. I don't like. There's certain aspects of the chest piece that I don't like, especially the kind of lower part of it. But we'll be wearing pieces of it, and once I start to up my vitality, we'll maybe wear the leggings as well. But I can't wear them just now. And we'll use. I don't like being hollow in Dark Souls 2. I prefer being human. So I'll try and keep as human as possible through my playthrough. And yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention about the Pursuer is he's on like a self-directed holy mission to cleanse the world of undead, and that sounds like the Way of White and like Petrus of Furland and whatnot. Not that I'm saying he has the same kind of demeanour and personality. The Pursuer seems a lot more robotic and cold and methodical, whereas Petrus was calculating and devious and whatnot. Oh, I forgot to mention, yeah, you get one of the best rings as well off of this, the Pursuer, and that's the Ring of Blades, and that gives you the one we picked up. We can use the Soldier's Key here. This was the area I was thinking of when I was talking earlier on. This is actually, I believe, a late area in the game, but it says produce the seal of the king or whatever. But yeah, we picked up the Ring of Blades and that, and we pick up the Ring of Restoration here. Ring of Restoration is like that ring from Demon Souls, I always forget its name. But it increases your health over time. So, Sacred Land of Lindelt, this ring symbolised prosperity and longevity for the great house of Styria, or Styria. Strange wee comment about the ring feeling like it can be taken for granted. Don't know how something like that can have, you know, conscious thoughts like that, but never mind. Anyway, Yeah, the ring of blades. Interesting wee bit of lore there, not going to say it out loud, but it gives you a flat 30 attack hit points, or attack points increase. So if we go to my right hand weapon and we see, look at the 210, 190 to 210, so sorry, 20 points increase, I'm talking about 30 points.